everyone, and welcome to another episode of Mavens of Manufacturing, the video broadcast series that features the powerful women from the shop floor to the C-suite who are changing the world through engineering and manufacturing. Today, I have Christina, who is the Sales Manufacturing Operations Leader for Panasonic USA. Hi, Christina. How are you?
I'm doing well, thank you. How are you?
I'm great. So thank you for spending some time with me today on Mavens. I really appreciate it. I know in some of these lead positions, they can get pretty busy and because manufacturing is always changing and technology is always changing. So um,
Absolutely.
I like to start each show off with an introduction of yourself. Can you let us know who you are and how you made your way through engineering and manufacturing?
Yeah, so I actually started out in mechanical engineering. That's what I got my degree in. I started working for a company right out of college doing design work for components for printers. And my first exposure to manufacturing was working with contract manufacturers uh, to
Okay.
to build and qualify new parts.
Okay.
Then I moved into what was called the manufacturing resource team, which is responsible for the startup of manufacturing of new products. And I led the manufacturing startup of my company's flagship product. And after that, I was asked to run the factory for that product. So that was my journey into manufacturing.
Did you have any like influences when you were younger that made you that inspired you to really want to pursue manufacturing or engineering? Like what was your favorite thing to do when you were going through high school? Because when I was in high school, I had no idea what I wanted to do, and sometimes I
Yeah.
feel like I still don't know what I want to do. So, what were your main inspirations for having a passion for it?
It's so funny. I I got to manufacturing and engineering kind of by accident. I actually, in my senior year of high school, decided to study hotel management.
Oh,
Yeah, I know, very different. And so I went to college, realized it wasn't for me. My father was a college math professor. And he
okay.
had always seen in me the ability at, the technical ability to do math and to do science. And he really encouraged me then to get into engineering.
That's great. It's just I like hearing everybody's stories because I had a dad who was in manufacturing too, and we really didn't start connecting on that level until I started Mavens. I always knew that he was gone a lot because he was part of the sales leadership teams for all the companies that he worked with. So he would
Mhm.
travel for like 2 or 3 weeks at a time and then come home. And he never really talked about what he did. He used to work at Fairbanks Morse, which is a manufacturing company for big engines that they put in the Navy carriers and also submarines.
Mhm.
So it's really cool to hear about that stuff now, but he never like shared that. He was always good at math, and I didn't get that gene. My sister did. She's the math genius of the family. I was more English and stuff. So it's really interesting to see how especially women will start out in a different career. I've talked to several like design or interior designers, and they liked what they were doing, but they didn't want to do that design stuff. So then they moved on to something in manufacturing or engineering. So it's really cool to see all of that stuff. How did your journey lead you to where you are today at Panasonic?
Well, so I after working in manufacturing and supply chain for a number of years at my company, I started moving into more of what I would call business operations, things like strategy, transformation, and project management. I then got caught up in a downsizing, which led me to Panasonic. So my role right now as sales operations manager really combines my experience in manufacturing along with my business operations because we sell material flow solutions and software for the manufacturing industry.
Okay. So what does a day in the life look like in your position at Panasonic?
So we talk a lot with new potential customers in the manufacturing industry, people in a lot of times senior roles in manufacturing, operations managers, chief operating officers, to explain to them the solutions that we have that can really help them improve their material flow.
And what are sort of your most memorable moments working at Panasonic? Because I feel like as a business operations manager, there's a lot going on and a lot of challenges that you face. So, can you talk about some of your most memorable moments and some of your biggest challenges that you had to find a solution for, and you were really, really proud of yourself for getting through those challenges?
Yeah. So at Panasonic, probably, my most memorable moment is, after it- you know, after I started, we were working with, like I said, a lot of potential customers, and my first, experience with a win, when we landed my first big customer, where we implemented a asset tracking solution in a major tier one automotive uh, company manufacturing operation. So that was kind of my, it was my first one that I had experienced when after joining Panasonic. So I think that was probably the most memorable. The biggest challenge, of course, I think was COVID. It really it impacted the manufacturing industry tremendously, and which impacted us. So our ability to visit customers just ended. Our ability to sell our material flow solutions really hinges on being able to go into an operation and see how we can help improve those operations. And because of COVID, that all came to an end. So I think that was our biggest challenge. Things are definitely improving. We are starting to travel again. We're starting to go into customer sites. So it's really starting to pick up again.
Yeah, I'm excited about that. My daughter just had her first dance competition, and they actually didn't require a mask mandate, which was kind of weird to go back into that. It was just weird. And my brother, who's a lot older than I, he was kind of on the fence, like, do I wear one? Do I not wear one? Like,
Yeah.
so it's now that awkward transition from, not being able to go anywhere, not being able to meet people face to face, and then all of a sudden getting back to face interactions and having the choice to not mask or mask. And it's just still kind of a weird situation
It
for a lot
is.
of people. But I'm happy to just get in front of people and meet face to face. I like that in person contact and being able to
Me
shake
too.
people's hand, or nowadays the elbow,
Elbow bump. Yeah.
yeah. So I mean, there's some new challenges that we're going to be facing now too, with everything going on in Europe and stuff. Do you have any concerns as a company with what challenges you might be facing in that situation? Like, are you concerned about that at all, or are you just going to keep plugging through and using virtual communications like this as much as possible to maintain that connection with your customers? What are some of your new challenges that are keeping you up at night?
So, we are, like I said, we are starting to travel, and we are going to, we're going to be at Modex at the end of March. So it'll be our first, face to face with potential customers, in a larger scale. And we will also be at Names in April. So, we are starting to get out there, starting to get into customer sites, and really, like you said, talking face to face really makes a difference in being able to create those connections with people.
So one of the things that a lot of manufacturers are facing today, and it's really been a struggle, and myself and some other of my colleagues who are really passionate about this sector, is this skills gap and how we're supposed to recruit the next generation workforce, and how do we get them excited, and how do we get more of a diverse set of individuals interested in engineering and manufacturing. Of course, my main focus is women. I feel like we need to bring in more women because we just have a different set of ideas and thinking processes when it comes to problem solving and critical thinking. I just think that we think differently. It's
Absolutely.
been proven in case studies. So, what are some of the things that you are doing as the business manager, or Panasonic is doing to connect with your community a little bit more and get the next generation really excited about some of the things that you're doing?
On a personal level, I'm very active in my alumni association. And one of the things that I like to do is really connect with the female engineering students. Again, COVID has kind of put that face-to-face, aspect on hold. But I did do quite a few events with young women engineers to talk about my career journey in engineering and manufacturing, and to really make those connections and help, these young women, get excited about the engineering field, and to really help them, give them advice on how they can, when they do graduate, grow their careers, and really move forward in their STEM fields.
So that was actually going to be my next question to you. What sort of tips or advice would you give the next generation who might be on the fence or not even aware of the opportunities within the sector? What sort of advice would you give them specifically to women who typically still don't consider career pathways in engineering or manufacturing?
Well, I really encourage women to build their professional network and to learn from, strong women, both in their field and outside of their field, to gain insight on, how women have kind of grown their careers. Like, I love telling my story of going from hotel management to engineering, because it really shows that we can definitely pivot. And, even though you don't necessarily have a background in manufacturing, you can, make that journey to really grow your career, and move and do something new and different.
Absolutely. I think one of the biggest pieces of advice I would give too is not a lot of kids are on LinkedIn. They're either on TikTok or they're not even on Twitter. They're on TikTok or Snapchat.
Yeah.
So when I talk to students, I really encourage them to start building a profile on LinkedIn, because that's where all of the professionals are at. So I think it's a great idea to maybe start incorporating some of that thought process into some of the classes that they're taking now, especially at the high school level or college level, because it's a great hub to find new opportunities and connect to leaders and recruiters and learn about jobs and everything, because there's so many people on LinkedIn that are helpful and just want to provide that extra help for students specifically.
Yeah. And what I encourage them is, it's not how many LinkedIn connections that you have, it's how many true relationships do you have with those connections, I think is so important.
Absolutely. Well, Chris, is there anything else that you would like to share with us? This is a platform that I created because I really want to help people share their stories. And if there's a big ask for our audience, I want to provide this opportunity for you now. If you have a big ask for our audience, what would that ask be for you?
Well, I think it is to encourage those young women to really look seriously at STEM fields in general, but especially manufacturing, because you're right, manufacturing is not an industry that women tend to gravitate to. It's very male dominated, still to this day. But there's a lot of opportunity. It's what I love about manufacturing is, the day to day, something new every day. It's problem solving. It's not the same old thing every day. New challenges come up that really enable you to use your problem solving skills. And it's so important, I think, to stay on top of the latest technologies too, that can make substantial improvements in the operation. When I was in manufacturing, we had, we were, not utilizing our labor, very effectively.
Mm-hmm.
We had people walking around the floor looking for empty bins and ordering parts from the warehouse to bring them to the line. If I had been on top of the latest technologies like we have at Panasonic, we could have improved how we replenish parts to the line more effectively and really utilize that labor in more productive ways.
Are there newer technologies that Panasonic's looking into now to help with their processes?
Yeah, so we are getting ready to introduce part of our asset tracking suite of solutions, Bluetooth Low Energy, which really gives you a high level of accuracy of locating your assets in the factory. We also have both active and passive RFID technology to help track assets and really give you a better control on your material flow.
That's really interesting. Well, Chris, if anybody wants to learn more about Panasonic or have questions about some of your products and services, where can we direct them to, and how can they connect with someone at Panasonic or even yourself?
Yeah, so they can check out our website. It's logisen.panasonic.com, or feel free to reach out to me directly. It's christina.pierce@us.panasonic.com. And feel free to connect with me on LinkedIn. I'd love to get to, like I said, I love to grow my network, get to know people. So feel free to try to, to connect with me on LinkedIn.
Absolutely. Well, Christina, I want to thank you again for taking the time to come share your story about Panasonic and yourself. And for all of those that are tuning in, thank you once again for supporting Mavens of Manufacturing. Stay tuned next week because we have another great guest. Have a great day, everyone.
Bye.
This has been another episode of Mavens of Manufacturing. Subscribe for more and make sure to tune in next time.